or listening to another episode of Innovative Tac-Tips. And I'm with the lovely Connie Lund. Thank you, Connie, for your time. I'm excited you're here. I have a lot of questions to ask you. I would love to know, for the listeners, what do you do?
So I'm offering fractional growth marketing services to mostly founders. Some are smaller companies or else companies, and I say smaller companies, I mean early stage startups that are just getting started. And I also work with companies that have plateaued. So work with the CEO and be an extension of their marketing and get them going. And my focus is tying marketing to revenue.
So, what about that makes your heart sing? What makes you so get into it and get into the weeds about it?
So being unable to unlock or open up, excuse me, being able, oh, that's so cookie. Just a second. I'm messing with your video.
No worries.
Being able to unlock or
Mhm.
just open up capabilities in a business that somebody's invested, much of their life into is
Mhm.
is transformative for them. So for example, I have
Mhm.
a client that um he has a few marketing people, but it's really just not delivering. They're not delivering. And so he's put himself in charge and he's just growing so much as a leader. And I'm helping him put in um, processes. And, if you're going to create a marketing machine, there has to be a continual state of create product, publish. And that piece is very difficult for a lot of one of the biggest complaints or the biggest issues that people come to me with is how do you create content? How do you finish it?
Yeah, no, I like that. I like how you can help them because I think a lot of the times when you're in it, you don't really see the nuances. You don't see basically the grow. I mean, you can probably feel the growing pains when you're in it, but you don't know how to solve it because you only know what you know. So that's awesome that you're able to kind of pick up and basically go full speed ahead. So throughout your career, you've worked for some really big name organizations. What's been the most memorable moment of your career so far?
So for me, I'm always learning. And so I have many, times where I am um, pushing myself out of my comfort zone into a growth stage. And so even now, no one said do this, but a month ago I took a TikTok class and that level of video and thinking is so different. And for me to come out with a 40-second video, snap. I mean, there's nothing concise about me usually. And so always through the years, those little learnings, transformations where I've always been pushing myself have been um, really the ability for me to go into LinkedIn and get people to come to me. All of my clients have come to me on LinkedIn, and it's simply through engagement and um, joining other people's networks. That's where the people
Yeah.
are at. You can post and post and post and try to get better at copywriting, but it's other people's networks. And I get on the call with somebody and they're like, oh, I saw you on Jason Lemkin's post. And so that commenting, joining the conversation in a thoughtful way drives. And that's probably the one thing that through the years, I started on Twitter
Mhm.
15 years ago.
Mhm.
And the startup founder said, Connie, can you help me? And that startup went to acquisition. And so, 17 years later, I'm still here in social, leveraging the community, which for me, I came from a small, small town in northern Minnesota that geographically was pretty separated. But this whole world online has given me a career. I've built my own career. I've evolved and continually reinvented myself.
I grew up in Minnesota. I'm like, I claim 2 states, Oregon and Minnesota, but I grew up in Minnesota too. So beautiful landscape, but when it comes to reaching outside of just like the four walls you live in, it's so crazy how much social media can the reach it has. It's just insane. Same with TikTok. Like I think a lot of other social media apps are like trying to study the algorithm of what TikTok has. And to your point, it's like the more that you can collaborate, the more that you can engage with others and their content, it doesn't go viral per se, but like when you get like 5 million impressions, that's good. That's that's really good. So another question for you is, how has failure or parent failure set you up later for success? And then do you have a favorite failure of yours?
I don't think it's a favorite one.
Mhm.
I don't think that. So my story is that I was working and I was always able to get a job. And so when I was laid off in late 2022, then 3 months later, I replaced that role and I had a new role. I was super excited about it. I was going to be working with um, essentially a coach, like an executive coach, and he had coaches under him. And I was super excited. It was like something totally different world. And even the couple of months I was there, I've taken away so much because it's really a part of everybody's vocabulary, like space, and there's a whole bunch of vernacular around it. And so I did the interview, and there's something really wonky. It was very clear when I met with HR the next morning because it was Tuesday, and she said, "Can you join Thursday?" Okay. Then I go into their Slack the night before I start, and I see the president, the person, the hiring manager, is leaving. Okay. Then I start on Friday, and the CEO says, well, HR said, "You're reporting to the CEO now." Okay, that's fine. So when I went into work immediately, he's like, "Oh, president's leaving. Oh, we have no money. Oh, contracts have fallen through. And by the way, can you lead sales?" Well, I was doing marketing, hired to do marketing. So I'm a good doobie. I got busy and I not only did my marketing things, went to a trade
Mhm.
show, but I also spent 7 days a week trying to pull together sales, trying to pull together their numbers, trying to sort out their pipeline, which I did. And then they were also building an AI product. And my way of working is very collaborative. I communicate with all, and this is something that I've done differently my whole career because I believe in communication. You should talk to development, you should talk to product management, you should talk to the teams, right? And so that really, really was an issue that I was talking to development. Well, I thought in 2 weeks I was supposed to be launching a product. Anyway, SaaS, that's what the hiring manager had hired me for, was product-led growth, free trial and a SaaS. So
Mhm.
after 2 months, he says, "This isn't working, you're gone." And I was like, okay. And that really, really made me step back and say, really? Like, do I want to continue working for an entity that's sometimes mixed up? I've been working for startup founders for a while. And
Mhm.
anyway, and I just stepped back and said, I took a month off because it was a huge, like, you ask yourself, did I fail? What did I do wrong? And that being let go is such a life-changing event that it just, blows up your world. So I said, fine, I am going to get my own insurance.
Mhm.
I am going to talk to founders. And in talking to founders, when I was talking to them on LinkedIn, they're like, well, we don't have enough budget for a full-time person. But I said, I can help you. So I was doing 10-hour blocks. And that's really how I transitioned into fractional, was just from this extreme frustration. I didn't fail, but the system was a failure. And right now, I believe that the whole ecosystem, the environment for hiring people is so broken. I see so many people being let go. I'm getting called by recruiters for jobs. One, the person's still sitting in the role, been there 7 months. They're replacing them. I reach out to those people. I'm interviewing for a job that somebody was there for 3, 4 months and gone. And they're treating people like they're disposable. And it's not a good joke. And so in marketing, there's no way you can come in and make things happen. And, maybe you shouldn't have hired that person. There's another case where last August, my dream job, I made a video of the tool. I reached out to the person on Pavilion. I said,
Mhm.
hey, I want to, I made a video for you. Look, it's got all these views. No, I want to hire somebody in San Francisco. Okay. Because it had hurt his company by having remote employees.
Mhm.
So he did hire somebody in the suburb of Austin, Texas. So I, I followed this journey of them. And 6 months later, that person's let go. I mean, it's a good thing I didn't go there. I said, can I help you in the meantime? Got him on the call. And, he blew his budget, right? Like he spent on that marketer. And that marketer also had written on LinkedIn about blowing $50,000 because the CEO told him on ads. So my first TikTok video was about, founders, you've only got so much money. And in that case, he had seed money, but you've only got so much money. And if you're going to go and hire a marketer, hire somebody that has experience in startups because you're wasting so much time. So when I
Mhm.
talked to this founder, I said, I can help you part-time. He goes, no, I have to do it all by myself. And I'm sure that his board said, that's it, you go do it. And this is just such a prevalent thing. It makes me really irritated that they're treating people like they're disposable. And right now, I'm just like, I'm going to work with people part-time, make an impact, and let's be happy. So that's where I'm at. I'm pretty passionate about it. It's really, really bad right now.
No, so one, yes, 100% yes. I think that, and then I think right now I'm seeing people are too scared to make decisions. Like they're sitting on their hands and they're not producing. Like there's so many I guess facets of it because one, hiring process is broken, and two, they're not leveraging those employees' skill set in the right roles. I think if there was, and maybe it's leadership, coaching, leadership. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And I know that there's a lot of applications too that you're paying like big license like payments, right? POs that you're paying for technology that your like employees don't want to use. And it's again, there's so much like opportunity to resolve a lot of things, but it's so funny. Like people don't want to listen to what actually can be done. It's like I don't know if it's an ego thing, I don't know if it's a pride thing, but I digress. I am very
Yeah.
passionate with you.
No,
Yeah.
so
So
the one thing that you bring up is really key. And for me,
mm,
it's a personal growth situation, is that when I was working for these, you know, as an employee, I didn't say
mm,
much. Like if
mm,
the founder said, that's how it is, you're going to go do this. Okay, we go do
mm,
it because you are afraid for your job, right? Like you want to make them happy. But as a consultant now, or as a person, it's freed me to say what I think. And the sooner
yeah.
I say what I think, it's it's better for all of us. And so that has been a personal growth. And I am enjoying that. And it also helps us. And I move fast now. Like in 2 weeks, I'm onboarded, I'm plugging in, and
Mm,
we are working towards results. Like with my client who's growing into his leadership role.
Mhm.
I posted a blog post in 17 days. It's ranking on Google. Like, let's get this stuff done. so,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's what I'm passionate about, and people can feel that. But
Yeah.
I'm not really excited about going into a company again because I just think that people have a really um, it's just the numbers, spreadsheet, and boom, that's it. And we can move on from this topic,
Yeah,
but
no,
I am
no. I could probably talk a lot longer about it too, but so I guess that is another question that would add to it is what's one way your work had changed someone's life that you didn't expect?
so I think that I bring a whole fresh perspective around marketing that, you know, that these people didn't realize is possible. I just had another call Sunday night with a CEO, and he's been doing organic SEO, which is great. But yesterday, I just sent him a whole list of things that he can do that are pretty cheap. My whole focus is organic, and I don't
Mm.
really go in. I've seen the paid world really damaging. The paid can really wipe out. So anyway, I feel like that's the thing. I can bring a um new offerings, new things to people. And I really try to help them grow as leaders too, in terms of how they view their team, that collaboration piece. One
Mhm.
funny thing is that this team that I'm talking about is in India, and I brought them a sense of humor to their culture. Like that
Oh,
sounds so
good.
strange, but you don't have to be
Yeah.
wearing straight jackets when we have meetings. And so they were left with me for a week or two. And I, seriously, we get along best if you laugh at my jokes. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, in my last full-time role, I mean, I have my own sense of leading marketing, bring in sales, we go over all the numbers, and I manage the data. And after the meeting, my CEO says to me, he goes, "Connie, don't say happy Friday." And I said, "Why not?" And he said, "Well, makes it sound like you don't want to do your job. Makes it sound like you just want to take the weekend off. I want my culture that people will work on the weekends. I work on the weekends." But it's things like that. Like, that's not even funny, but
Mhm.
and then it was a
Yeah.
joke. So the rest of the team would say, "Happy Friday, happy," like, but because they knew I had been told not to say it. So each culture is different, but hopefully I bring something to the culture that's that's a breath of fresh air. You know, when you've got a Zoom room full of people who are like being choked. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah,
Anyway,
no, I mean, again, no, I mean, the whole point of, starting a business is solving a problem, right? Making someone's life easier. And I think that's a great colleague or whoever you hire, like if they can make your life easier with a simple saying, right? Like work is work, but it doesn't have to be so daunting. And I think to your point, like work doesn't have to be in straight jackets. It can be fun. And actually the more fun it is, the more like the work that gets done is more quality. So there's studies on that. Obviously, I'm not going to go down that road, but yeah, to your point, it's the more that you can breathe easier when in stressful times makes a huge difference.
yeah.
So I 100%, yeah, 100%. So if you could have a billboard that goes to billions of people, it could be a phrase, it could be a paragraph. What would you put on it?
So I have two mantras that go way back, way, way back. I, for 10 years, worked in a library system with 25 people. And my one mantra is there's nothing that can't be fixed.
That's
So give
true.
it a
Yeah.
try because change is happening. I mean, if you
Yeah.
don't, there's another one about change. If you don't change, nothing's going to change. But anyway, there's nothing that can't be fixed. So you can screw up. It's okay. We'll fix it. It's all good. But I can't deal with someone that won't try. I can't work with that person. The other one, my voice is going again, is always maintain a sense of humor. Humor will get you through.
I 100 yes. I think the more lighthearted, the more that you can laugh at yourself, the more that you can I mean, obviously, you can be serious, right? Like, there's times for it to be serious, but also at the same time, like, the more that you can it's a actual stress relief to, like, laugh. It's like like, what is it? Is it dopamine or serotonin? Anyways, it's to laugh, it actually is good for your well-being. So, yeah, I agree. I think the more that you can add humor to even marketing, sales. There's actually studies saying that you can actually mark up your like what you're selling up to like I think mark it up by 30% over 30%. Like humor does things. It drives a lot of great things. So I agree with you. Um, where can people find your work? Like where can people find more about you? You said LinkedIn, you said Twitter. Is there a specific site or I guess what is the best way to get to see like what you have to offer?
I am on LinkedIn, and see the cat. She comes to meetings. I'm on
She wants to be in
LinkedIn.
the conversation.
Yes, she is. She's a good contributor. And, it's Connie Lund on LinkedIn, and, it's LinkedIn, that URL, and then it's Benson C. But you don't have to remember that. Just search for me, and I'm there, and I take connections from anyone and everyone because that's how I've always ran it. And, if you pitch me, I'll ignore it. It's okay.